Jenny One here, and I have with me Ty Morgan, who's a candidate for Pinal County Sheriff. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, Jenny. Thanks for having me.
How frequently have you been in Maricopa, and what are your feelings about our exciting growing city?
Well, I've been in Maricopa a lot, more recently about 2-3 times a week. But I used to come to Maricopa and work in Maricopa as a patrol deputy, as a patrol supervisor, before a lot of this development was even here. I used to come and work special details and work the town of Maricopa even before they were an incorporated city. I'm excited about the growth and the things that are going on out here in Maricopa. I'm looking and working with some of the city leaders as well as some of the police department people to make sure that the growth continues to be positive and continues to be a safe environment for everybody.
I understand you've been in law enforcement for over 30 years. What attracted you to this profession, and aren't you ready for something else?
Well, first, I think the thing that attracted me, even when I was young, it seemed that I was always sticking up for the kid, which everybody calls being bullied now. Back then, there wasn't that much emphasis on kids that were being bullied. But even in school, I tend to stick up for the kids that were being bullied. So that started leading me towards the public service life and being a police officer. My 30-year career has been right here in Pinal County. In actuality, I started at Arizona State Prison in the 70s. And early 80s, I became a certified police officer, and I've been working, keeping the streets safe in Pinal County for the last 30 years. As far as doing something else, I've never even thought about it. I am who I am. I'm a police officer. I've been a police officer. I believe it's time for me to take some of my skill, my knowledge, my training, my leadership abilities, and be able to pass that along to some of the younger troops to try to continue to make a better environment for our young people and a better agency for the people that work there.
What can the citizens and youth do here in Maricopa to help reduce crime?
I think one of the biggest things is be good witnesses. Go to the block watches, learn how to be a good witness, learn how to say no, the old say no to drugs kind of a deal from the DARE program. Communicate with your school resource officers if you have them. One of the things that I'm very adamant about is in Pinal County, the county schools, we have absolutely no school resource officers in our schools. And that's extremely poor. We have to have school resource officers in our schools. One of the things that you're doing that I think is great is you're taking martial arts. You're taking good training, good skills. You've developed the ability in your own consciousness and your own ability to say no to those bad things in your life. And I think that's awesome. I've been a martial arts instructor for over 20 years. And those are the things that I tell people. Work out, bring your confidence level up, become a good witness for the police. Don't be afraid to call when there's something bad going on. Get involved in our Explorer programs and our youth programs, the Boys and Girls Clubs, and all those things. And that'll help us as law enforcement officers.
Now let's talk about the current sheriff's administration, the incumbent Paul Babu. Why are you running against him?
Well, I believe I'm better suited for the job as a sheriff for Pinal County. Firstly, I've been an officer here protecting the citizens of Pinal County for over 30 years. Mr. Babu has barely 4 years of experience as a law enforcement officer prior to him being elected as sheriff. Secondly, he's a very poor steward of our tax dollars. He's gone over the budget. He's implementing equipment and money in places where we could use it elsewhere. We could use it for proactive enforcement, preventative enforcement. Some of his focus has been on reduction of response time to officers coming to your call for service. And although that's extremely important, I think my emphasis will be on reduction of crime in your neighborhoods, making sure that we get there before we deter and reduce the crime, so we don't have to worry so much about how fast we're going to get to the crime if you can reduce it. For instance, in his administration right now, the sheriff has what they call at-will and appointed positions. Currently, the administration has 14 at-will persons and appointed positions. The previous sheriff had 7. This sheriff has 14, and just their salary is $1.3 million a year. And some of those positions have absolutely no value in law enforcement. They serve the sheriff's office in no way, shape, or form. They serve a political agenda, but they don't serve the sheriff's office. When you have that much money going to administrative staff that has no value for law enforcement, and you have no school resource officers in your school for the young kids, you have a definite problem. So there's many reasons, but that's a short reason why I chose to run against Sheriff Babu.
Why have you decided to run as an independent?
Several reasons, actually. For one, I'm an independent. I believe both political parties have gotten it wrong, and that's why our nation is in the dilemma that we're in. We've spent 4 years without a passed budget because both parties can't seem to get it right. So basically, I think independently, but more importantly, I believe that law enforcement and politics should be like oil and water. They should not mix. If you mix politics and oil and water, and politics and law enforcement, it has a tendency to create bad things. So, over the 30 years that I've been a police officer, I can assure you that there have been many laws passed, from legislation passed to law enforcement to implement those laws. And those laws that come to us are nonpartisan laws. They're passed nonpartisanly, and they're sent to law enforcement to be implemented as nonpartisan laws. If you have a partisan sheriff or a partisan chief of police, the laws don't necessarily get implemented in a nonpartisan way. And so I'm trying to remove that. I'm trying to make sure that when we implement laws for everyone that are citizens of our county, that the law is fair and equal for all.
That's great. Now, on a lighter side, who's your favorite police officer on TV and why?
Well, I'd say my favorite police officer was on TV is no longer, and that would be Ponch, which is Eric Estrada. He played Ponch in a series of Highway Patrol Motor Cops. And if you look at my folder, which I've given out, you'll see a picture of Ponch and I on the inside. I know him, I wouldn't say really well, but I know him, and we've done some things together. So.
At my high school, some of the kids think that the amount of homework is almost criminal. As sheriff, what do you intend to do about it?
Do you think it's criminal?
Maybe.
Well, I would defer that question actually to my wife, since I'm a police officer and it's not actually criminal. My wife is a school administrator. She could probably give you a better answer for that.
Great answer. Now, you live in Florence, which is halfway between Tempe and Tucson. Which school do you prefer, ASU or U of A?
Honestly, I prefer NAU. But as far as the other two schools, no comment.
Awesome. Now, I understand you have a black belt in karate. I have mine in Taekwondo. So let's see each other's best martial arts poses. Are you ready to do this?
I'm much older than you, so it's going to take me a little while to get stretched out. And plus, I don't work out every day like you do anymore, so I've been on the campaign trail.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan, for visiting us today and answering questions so we can learn more about you.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and I very much think it's great what you guys are doing out here. Just so everybody knows, this will be on video. So my website, my email, and my phone number are all available to everybody. If they want and ask me more questions, feel free to call me.
Okay, Maricopa, this is Jenny One signing off. See you later.
What you're hitting, right?
Yeah.
So when you punch, I step back, I hook punch. When I hook punch, I kick your knee out, grab, down you go, and boom. Huh?
What a mean sheriff, picking on little girls like that. I mean,
I don't know. Hook punches are awesome because you can be standing just like this. Somebody try to punch you, and you just dodge and bam.
dang, he's got power. Mrs. Morgan.
Just watch her foot movement. I'm punching. I'm coming in.
Oh yeah.
You're aiming way off. Don't throw me down hard. I'm old. Remember? I don't want to break.
Awesome. Now I got one. So you stand right there. I'll be Mr. Morgan.
Okay.
Okay. I'm Mr. Morgan. I'm Mr. Morgan. You're a lot more handsome. I know. Don't get offended. All right.
I have more hair.
You got more hair. Now I want you to be like, and then she's gonna go.
Oh, he's gonna let me warm
You
up
want to try it?
first.
You want to do it?
You gotta let me warm up first.
All right. Warm up. Yeah. Okay.